How you been?
Good. Yeah, sorry about that. I got caught up after work, but thanks so much for your patience.
It's all good. I want to introduce you guys. I don't think you guys never formally talked or anything. Disordered. That's GK. GK is. I mean, hopefully you've seen what I've been sharing. GK is a really dope dude. You guys are both huge fighting game players, which I find that funny that you guys are probably two of my biggest like fighting game friends out of everybody I know, real life and online. It's pretty
Oh
dope.
yeah, word. Yeah, I've seen Disorder. I've seen you online and stuff like that, man. Like
Yeah, same. I've
during
seen
during the
you kind
Daemon X Machina days.
You got
yeah, thanks. Yeah, I've been following GK's content for a while. It's always very thoughtful stuff. I like tuning into it. So that's cool. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
how you doing, Disorder? Everything good?
Yeah, things are going good. Just trying to gather my thoughts after it's been a pretty long week at work, but
No, I feel
it's
that.
okay. It's pretty cool since then, so it's all good.
Yeah, well, we're just gonna kick it. We keeping it chill. I don't want this to be like this ain't no hardcore interview or nothing. Like we all friends. We all love the game. We all, we're all cool people too. If you guys were losers, I definitely wouldn't be doing this. But yeah, I don't think we are. I don't think we take ourselves too seriously. Just serious enough. So yeah, so I really wanted to do this with you guys. Plus, you guys are again like, besides me, I think you two are probably the biggest content creators on the Demon X Machina side that I know, at least. That continued with it and continued kind of supporting it for a long time. So I thought it just makes perfect sense. Just makes perfect sense to have this little collab going.
Daemon boys.
Yes, sir. So have y'all seen all of it? Like, yo, we're gonna go ahead and start. Fuck it, we here. But have y'all seen all the gameplay news so far?
I think it's kind of been like I was telling you earlier off the call. Like, it's kind of been buried between a lot of Switch 2 stuff. So it's kind of I've had to like go on their site and all that and their YouTube and see what's been going on in terms of the extra information they've been sharing about it. They shared some clips with showing more details about combat, like some tutorial type stuff, I guess. I saw the trailer, obviously, and yeah, I mean, I've been trying. I'm not sure, and it feels like they're not saying a lot in English yet. I don't know.
No, they haven't really like translated a lot of it yet, which is kind of weird. Like, there's still not a lot of information out either. Like, they did make a Japanese or English version of the Japanese site they had up, but it still didn't offer too much more information right now. So there's still a lot missing, and there's still a lot of questions that people have. What were you about to say, Disorder?
Yeah, I was just gonna agree. It seems like mostly it's been Japanese language content so far. We do have image translate, and we do have luckily we have some Japanese folks in our community who have been doing some translating, which is very very nice.
Yeah, shout out to them for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah, Beryl and Akitsu, shout outs to both y'all. You guys are great. But yeah, a lot of I've been scouring the footage. The first when it first came out, I didn't get a chance to get a thorough look, but this week I kind of gave it a much closer look, and pretty fascinating. A lot of questions, of course. We really don't know exactly what's going on. We do see remnants of a lot of DXM1 stuff, but it seems like they all function somewhat differently from the original iteration. So yeah, but I have been watching. I think we get like 3 or 4 different clips that are about 1 to 2 minutes. So overall, not a lot, but still fun to see.
Yeah, those. I think that's all there is, and those still haven't been translated either by the Marvelous or whatever. So I think that is kind of weird, but especially because the game is only 5 months out. It's dropping in September.
Yeah, and it's a console release, which is first one wasn't. So
Yeah.
this one might be more global.
Yeah, this one's coming out on everything. So at like the same time. So yeah, you think it would like, you think there'd be more information and more, I don't know, more like anything like that. Like I'm expecting maybe they drop another. I wonder if they drop another demo. They're like teasing things. We'll get into that stuff though. But like, first of all, the first thing I want to ask, because this seems to be the biggest thing that like everybody is either super excited for or super against, is the mech thing. It doesn't look like we're gonna be in mechs, at least for the main gameplay, and they're more like power armor suits. How do you guys feel about that?
I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it. It's one of those things where I don't want to knock something that I haven't played. Type deal. Is that kind of thing where it's like, okay, sure, I may have preferred like traditional big body mech suits, but I may like this too. I don't know. It's one of those situations where I can admit that like, oh, I would have preferred one thing, but I'm not gonna close myself off to the idea of like enjoying what they're offering.
I feel like it makes sense.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, this one.
No, I was gonna say I'm in full agreement. The thing that attracted me to the first game, of course, was the giant robots. These giant robots are sick. So I was kind of trying to think of it in terms of that comparison. Like if Demon X Machina 1 had been exosuits instead of arsenals, would I have been so inclined to try it? And I'm not 100% sure if I would have, but this is obviously the first game was all about mechs, and so that's like a great motivator, and I love the first game very much. But yeah, I'm in the same camp. I think I would prefer huge arsenals, but I'm not completely closed off to the idea, especially based on the fact that DXM1's combat was so much fun.
That's kind of my take is, like, as long as the gameplay's good, you got me. Like, I'm not, shout out to Spooky, but he was, like, wondering why I wasn't so against the power armor, I guess people call it. I'm like, well, as long as the gameplay there, like, I could really care less, to be honest. Like, mechs are cool, don't get me wrong. Demon X Machina look like anime Armored Core, and that's why I was interested. That's why I caught my eye in the first place. So I'm not gonna sit here and say like mechs aren't important to me. Like I'm literally a huge Gundam fan. I got Gundam models behind me right now. So like mechs are cool, but like as long as I'm a gameplay first guy. So as long as the gameplay there, I still got this movement. Like that's all that matters to me. So, and haven't they won my trust? I love the first game. Like I played the heck out of it. I played it for like at least 2-3 years straight. Like they've earned a little bit of my trust, some leeway, I should say. So
Do you think they're gonna have the big body mechs also though?
So the sorter actually posted a picture in the Discord, and you can see it on the website. But at the end of the customization tab, you can see the big Mighty Mech behind the power armor arsenal while he's customizing his mech. So they definitely seem to be in the game. It also shows up in the trailer, but we don't know in what capacity it's gonna be. Is it like gonna be a special move now, or is it gonna be like Xenoblade Chronicles where you get it later? And it's something it's like an in-game thing. It definitely seems like it's in the game, but we don't have a lot of information on how it's in the game yet. It being in that picture in the hangar, it looks like it's going to be a customizable thing. So I imagine you're going to use it quite often, I would hope. But I don't know.
Yeah, the fact that it hasn't been featured as prominently makes me believe, or leads me to believe anyway, that maybe it's not a key player, in the game itself. Maybe it's more of a bonus feature. You're right, it does show up in the trailer for a minute, but in the trailer, all we see is the arsenal kind of floating midair and just blasting. Just throwing like tons of barrages of missiles and huge swaths of machine gun fire or whatever it is. And we see that for about like
2 seconds, maybe.
Yeah. So it does seem like it could be kind of like in the way the first game where you had your arsenal and you had your outer gameplay, and it definitely seemed like the outer gameplay was initially intended to be a big feature in the game, but they weren't able to necessarily flesh it out in time, and so it just kind of showed up as a little cameo, 1 or 2 single player missions where you're forced to run around as an outer. You have exploration where there's one special room where you have to leave your arsenal and go run around on foot. So I'm kind of thinking maybe it's something like that, but the inverse, where the primary gameplay is going to be the exosuit, and then there might be an occasion or two where the giant robot comes into play for a little bit, but I don't know. It's pretty hard to say. The fact that it does show up in the hangar does make me optimistic.
Yeah, for sure. And I really, again, I just the name Titanic Scion makes it sound like it's going to be a bigger game. And I said this in one of my YouTube videos. I feel like it's a bigger game because you're just smaller. I think that's a cheap way to sell it. Like, yeah, like that's some bullshit, kind of like I'm expecting bigger mechs. If there was going to be something like a special type thing you summon or something like that, I would think it would be something like the Rebellion boss that you got to pilot one time in the original. Something on that size. Maybe we have access to that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, again, we gotta wait for more information to see how this is gonna pan out. But I know right now, like, it's probably the biggest concern people have with the next game.
Let me ask you something, and you're probably already gonna ask this, but what are your thoughts on the art style?
I like it. I mean, I think it looks a little bit more darker, which I don't hate. I'm trying to wait and give it some more time though, because I want to see what kind of environments they bring. Like, they're already saying there's gonna be like space missions, so I'm hoping we're getting like a bunch of different kind of environments this time around. So I'm kind of just trying to be patient until I see more before I start either bashing or falling in love with the art.
Yeah. I'd say like they've kept the themes from the original, even though it's exosuits now, or it seems to be. Like all the armor looks sweet, it looks awesome. It looks just like the robot parts in DXM1. Like you got full radiant gleam looking armor, and a lot of the classics from the first game. I think that part all looks great. From the enemy perspective, I think that's the part about the art in this art design that has intrigued me the most so far, is that if you look through those bits of trailers, they show some enemy monsters and they look very different. They look like bio dinosaur creatures, kind of weird, almost like Resident Evil bosses in a way. So that's the most interesting part. And I recall in the very early teaser, the landscape that they showed there was like this, I don't know, it looked like a giant world of like twisted bodies. It was really dark.
Does it look dark?
Yeah. So I'm curious to see where they go once we get the full game.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about the exosuit aspect, and more concerned, not concerned, but I just want to see how the art style grows on me. That's the part where I'm more like, because I did kind of like how Daemon X Machina was anime armored core, pretty much, quote unquote, and how that kind of gave it a unique edge, a unique flair, and the fact that they're kind of moving more towards realistic textures
Mm-hmm.
Not fully realistic art style. The art style still feels like it's a bit fantastical or whatever, but it's definitely less air quotes anime. And I think the person who worked on the original art style, I forget his name, but he's the same person who I think worked on No More Heroes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it does. This game doesn't look like what I forget his name. I wish I remember his name, but this game doesn't look like that. So I wonder, did they change art directors and how that went? Because it looks less like less cartoon shading, you know. So yeah, that's one of the things. That's why I asked about how you feel about the art direction. It doesn't look bad though, but it doesn't. It's definitely like a shift away from the original identity of Daemon X Machina.
Yeah, no, and people have had that concern. Like, that's something I'm seeing in my comments as well. Not as much as the Mech thing, but people are like saying, well, this doesn't look, it looked like a different art direction as well. Like, I hope they didn't completely change their identity. That's a lot of people's concern right now. So that's a great question. I did not have that question though. So that was a great question.
I kind of do miss the colors. I mean, one of the things I liked most about the first game is that every single environment is like, I think the word fantastical is a pretty good way to describe it, but like every time you hop into a new level, it's like, you know, purple sky, blue trees, you know, orange, and like same thing, the next level, it's like, you know, orange sky, blue tree, you know, it's like very vivid, very, very like bright colors.
Right.
I haven't been seeing quite as much of that in this new one, but you know, it is sort of.
That's, I'm hoping because it's early and we haven't seen anything late game. Because I do feel like in the beginning of the game, and maybe I'm remembering it wrong, we don't really see too many different types of environments till about midway through the game. So that's what I'm going, I mean, off of memory, but I'm hoping like as the game progresses, we're going to see different environments that are, and hopefully a lot way cooler and different, unique things that we didn't see in the first one. We'll see though, but like, yeah, they're just not a lot of information to go off on, man. Just speculation and hope. Now, what is the thing you guys seen so far that you guys are like that shocked you? Like something you did not expect to see.
That's a bow. Yeah.
You said the bow?
The bow.
I think that's everyone's answer. The bow is crazy. The bow is
crazy. The trailer and I was just
like, I was like, what the fuck? Why? That's so awesome.
It's definitely a why, but it's also we are playing Anime Armor Core, so that's probably why.
It works.
That was so cool. That part was so cool.
It works. I don't know if it's gonna be viable. I don't know if it's gonna be useful, but the fact that it's in the game is sick.
No, they're definitely gonna make it viable. They better.
They better, bro. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna find a way to make it viable if it's not.
Yeah, that was really. That did kind of take me by surprise when I saw that.
Yeah, but it looks so sick, and I hope they add more weapons like that. Maybe there's a crossbow or something like that. Like, I'm hoping there's just things of that kind of nature, like, and they just use like be free and use whatever you like, any kind of different kind of weapons you could think of. Throw it in the game. I want a double saber, like throw it in the game.
You know, the other thing that kind of took me by surprise, because Daemon X Machina has always had these kinds of things, but that wide Femto shield.
Oh yeah,
that is.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we got new Femto weapon. Like, I'm very curious what the new implementation of the Femto stuff is going to be like for this one.
Yeah.
Because that was one of my favorite parts of the original game, is switching between all those modes, like shield mode and speed mode and all that kind of stuff with the Femto. So, yes, yeah, that's the part that where I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm very curious on like how they're gonna expand on that. But yeah, that was one the bow like Disorder said, and that big shield thing. That was like, okay, what are they cooking?
So bringing up the femto modes, the shifts. How do y'all feel about them being attached to the armor now?
Wait, they are?
Yeah, so now they're attached to the armor. So instead of being able to switch between all three, like in the OG, you have to have a specific or armor piece that has that or has a shift attached to it. I think it's every body part.
It seems like it could be a random attribute as well. So, for example, you could, it's a very loot-driven game, and you're always trying to loot stuff. And just like in the first DXM where you had different weapon variants, like you had Grim Reaper F, Grim Reaper S, Grim Reaper L, which all modified the statistics slightly. Like the L had like longer range bullets, more ammo, but lower damage, etc. In this case, it seems like the shift is also a randomly assigned attribute on the drop. So you can get, for example, a Radiant Gleam chest piece. You get 3 different ones, and each one would have a different shift attached to it. It seems to be that that's the case. So it's majorly incentivizes loot grinding.
Yeah.
Because it seems like if that is a random attribute, then the possibilities are like infinite for like getting the right part with the right stats that you want. But it is interesting. I kind of
that is interesting. So that also. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is that sounds good for balancing PvP.
Yeah.
Because now everyone doesn't have every. So, that does sound that sounds interesting.
Yeah, my thoughts on it right now is like, yeah, it could possibly open up a bunch of different variable builds, especially in PvP, because in PvP you kind of, especially in the first DXM, like a lot of people are kind of rocking the same thing. So now you can kind of build specifically to your play style. But what concerns me is DXM is not really very good in terms of balancing. So what if one of the shifts are just that much better than the rest? Also though, someone said on my YouTube, and I'm not sure if this is true. Again, it seemed like he was speculating, but he was like translating and trying to like get the gist of it. But he said it sounds like you might be able to get different like kinds of wing. So like say wing shift, there might be 3 different forms of wing shift, 3 different forms of assault shift. Like it's not just 3 different shifts. It's like there might be a combination of even more.
All right, I remember. Someone in our community was the big shield wall that Jikai mentioned. At first, when I first saw that, I thought, oh, this must be the new shield shift, because it looks like a shield. No, it must be the shield shift. But doing further research into the videos, the original shield shift, the big sphere around you, that's in the game. That's still there. So either there are 2 different types of shield shift, or the big wall is
its own
something
separate
entirely
thing.
different.
What if, like, between wing shift, you have to decide between wing shift and blink? Maybe blink is now a shift or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm not saying that's a thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah. That's possible. Also, it looked like blink. I mean, I might be remembering the game wrong. I remember blink looking faster.
Mm-hmm.
In the original game. When I say faster, I mean blink. Y'all played that game.
Yeah.
Blink is like you press it and then
you're gone.
You gotta kind of adjust yourself. Like where am?
Yeah.
Exactly. Or
Did I run
fling yourself into the red wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whereas in this one, it felt like they slowed it down a little bit, so it's easier to follow. It almost looked like it was a counter move. I think you even said this, Eclipse. It looked like it was like a counter thing, as opposed to it being something that you can just activate out of nowhere. But I gotta watch the trailer again.
No, it definitely looked like I don't know if I said that. The sorta might have said that, but it looked like almost like a reaction thing. What I noticed about it is that instead of, like you said, blink, you just kind of like went into whatever direction you did it in, and you were there. This time, it looked like it went to whoever he was aiming at, and was right in front of it.
Yeah.
Because he also went, like, he was under it, kinda, and then he went up with blink in like a vertical, like a slanted direction, which you could not do in the original game. It was only left or right, or in a horizontal plane. So it looks like blink might be a little stronger this time, but maybe not as fast, but a little more direct, and could be very cool. Could be a problem.
No, yeah, that's a good point. I'm looking at the video right now. It does look like he's homing on the enemy with blink. Yeah. If that's blink, we don't even know.
Yeah, we don't even know it's blink.
Yeah, good point.
But it looked like blink, but it did. It looked dope regardless. But that is going to be a major change in PvP if that's how it works.
Nah, for sure.
Are you guys? So is PvP making a breaker for you guys? Like if the game, because me and Disorder were talking. Yeah, we're like, it's possible this game doesn't have PvP.
Yeah, that's like the greatest dooming, the deepest dooming that we can do, essentially. But I think it is possible. We do know that PvP was a late release for DXM1.
Right.
It was out for a little bit, and then they introduced PvP via an update. So it's also possible they might just be going that route for now, where the game might not launch with PvP, but it might come later. Or
I wouldn't even
they could just
mind
have
that.
full PvP. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one did it that way.
I mean,
for me, I just need. Honestly, PvP is whatever. But I'm gonna play Daemon X Machina PvP like I did before, if it's there. But I think this game needs to do more on the other stuff. And that's kind of what I'm more concerned about. That I forget the name of the mode, but that dungeon mode that they added towards the end of the game, yeah. I want them to go harder with that kind of thing.
I agree.
That's kind of what I'm more concerned about. It's like, are they going to do that? Like, how are they going to handle the PvE?
I agree. There's something like, I think I've always said this, and as much as I enjoy the PvP of Daemon X Machina, the PvE side to me is what puts it on another level from Armored Core. Is what differentiates it. Like it's something I think they should embrace and should focus on, the co-op and the looting aspect. And again, like you said, the exploration mode. Like I thought that was a very cool idea that more games should try, and because it gave me like PSO vibes. And
yes, it did.
And I always thought it was a super sick idea, but it just didn't like. You could tell they're like testing. Like here's a little something that we mess with, but I would like to see them like do a lot more of that and play around with different environments if possible. I think that would be very dope.
Yeah, that's the biggest trouble with the original exploration is it just, hate to say it, but it gets really stale after quite a while. And in fact, I think all of the PvE content, and I think co-op was the big sell for the first one. Like, hey guys, play with your friends, you get to show each other your cool robots and hang out in the hangar together, and just even that presentation and that vibe was so cool. Like you and all your buddies checking out all your robots, and before you launch into a big mission to go fight a gigantic monster. But it was, by the end of it, it's so trivialized. Once you figure out how to beat all the bosses, one person can solo every boss and get solo exploration without any trouble. So I think maybe making a more complex system, like a boss that would actually take 4 people and would actually be really hard, and it would feel like a real triumph, a real accomplishment at the end. And I think this might be coming from someone who just played the game too much to where we saw everything get optimized really hard, so it seems like it's real easy. But
no, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think they need to do a better job at making the enemies, and we might get into I don't know, but making the enemies a bit more dynamic. I'm thinking dynamic. When I say dynamic, I'm thinking games like Armored Core. I mean, not Armored Core. I'm sorry, like Monster Hunter, where the enemy behavior is a bit more nuanced, or even like there's more things for you to have to deal with in terms of enemy behavior. Like, y'all remember that spider? Oh, of course y'all remember. This is the first boss, I think, in Daemon X Machina. And how they would like drop the cannon, and then you have to go over and pick up the cannon and gun for it, stuff like that. I want enemies to have more things like that where it's like, oh, it's a whole process. Because even if the process is like, okay, we know how to optimize for this boss, it can still be fun.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know how to beat a lot of the monsters in Monster Hunter, but I want to feel like, oh, it's fun to beat them over and over again if I know how to really do it, you know? And more like, well, not more, but I guess better Mech versus Mech CPU bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could definitely. That system, the whole system where you get them down to a certain amount of health and then they just don't take damage anymore. I think that was probably not what they originally wanted to do, but whatever they were trying didn't end up working out, so that's kind of what you got. And it worked to tell the story. It kind of worked, but it was also just really awkward and felt kind of strange. So hopefully they'll find something else to do for when you're fighting other arsenals in PvE. They did show a little bit of what I assume is exploration. One of those 2-minute trailers, the last like 20 seconds or 30 seconds, does show going through what looks like underground tunnels, very similar to exploration. I think there's like a chest. Shows them opening a chest.
Yeah.
Which actually, there aren't really chests in DXM1, so that's kind of cool.
No, there was hitting weapons and things like that. Like, remember the gargoyle statue where you got the the swords?
That's like the coolest thing in the whole game, and it's so unspoken. It's so subtle.
There's definitely like the first game has some cool hidden features. The hidden ice cream shop was cool. Like how you unlock the was it the blueprints? The secret factory, that's what it was. By eating at the ice cream shop a bunch of times, and then the hidden gargoyle statues was very cool. Even some of the boss mechanics I thought were pretty dope too, because like people were saying like on the YouTube comments, they're like, it seems like they're adding like Monster Hunter Souls features, and I was like, well, some of these features have already been in the game. Like, you could shoot if you broke Rebellion's right arm, he would drop his sword, and you could pick his sword up and hit him with it. And like people be like, that's in the game. Like, and then Zarukor was one of the best bosses. Like, I feel like even though that was like the after they added the extra content, I feel like that boss outclassed every other boss in that game so much. Like, I want that to be the minimum for DXM2. Like, that boss was just so good. It was challenging. It had cool mechanics. Like you said, it had the lasers where you could pick it up and blast him with it, or you could pick up his damaged pieces and throw it at him. And he just had cool mechanics too that no other bosses had. Like, he could take away all your Femto with that little move he had, I think. When it turned the whole the big bubble that turned everything black and white. Then he like absorbs all your Femto. Like, I want that to be the minimum when it comes to bosses in DXM2, because they showed the potential they can do it. Like,
I was gonna say before I forget, do you think they're gonna do any change in terms of how deep customization can get?
I'm hoping it's more. Like, it looks like they're trying to like hype it up like it's gonna be more. Like, they already showed like there's a lot more, like, at least with cosmetics, like there's a lot more color options. There's a lot more things you can paint. You can actually change the color of the lights in your arsenals now. So the question is, what can we do with like our weapons and stuff and our armors? Like, how many attachments are we gonna have this time? Is it going to be more than just attachments? It looks like we're going to be crafting more. Like, are there going to be things we can upgrade? I don't know. I would hope so.
When they showed the exploration, or what I assume is exploration footage, there's also a very brief instant, and unfortunately it's only Japanese, but where the outer goes up to like a counter. There's like a dude standing behind the counter, and it seems to be like a whole crafting or recycling or something system where you can, because you don't have a lot of agency in the first game. You can craft weapons, you can, but mostly it's just like unfortunately an inferior version of whatever weapon you wanted, because they can't have slots unless you do our little slot glitch, which we can add them on there. But it's like this one seems to have a really fleshed out, again it's so early, but it does seem to have a more fleshed out system to where you can kind of customize your pieces with customization or scrapping or combining. We see there are these tiny items that show up a couple times called fusion filter, fusion something, and we don't know, we have no idea what those are, but maybe they're for combining attachments or adding slots or like, so it seems like there's more going on there this time, which is nice.
Now, this is a term, like, I feel like I'm weird about this term because I feel like people use it wrong. But player expression, do y'all feel like any of the new features are going to get in the way of player expression?
That's what kind of why I was asking about what y'all think about the customization. The one thing you said about the Femto being attached to particular armor, I think that is their way of kind of simplifying the game a little. Because it's like, okay, you don't have to think about all these different modes when you're playing anymore. It's like, okay, you can just focus on one thing. Whereas, like, I feel like it was kind of cool how, because of all the different Femto modes, players could, instead of it being based on instead of your playstyle being based on your armor, your playstyle was based on, like,
if you could,
what mode do you use? Yeah, what mode
and
do
that
you really gravitate?
Especially towards like the end of DXM and people playing meta PvP. That was one of the few things in the game that literally put you above an average player. If you knew how to manage your shifts, you could be a lot better than a player who is good. And that's something they're particularly taking away from us. So it is kind of scary. And again, I'd be more optimistic if these devs are known to be good at balancing things. I'm not gonna assume that's the case. So we'll see. But
I'm gonna be honest, I've kind of given up on mech games in general, like Armored Core or Daemon X Machina, being properly balanced.
So because I feel like you do, but before you go on, I just want to say one thing about balance. I'm okay with games not being balanced as long as it's fun and entertaining. Well, I'm gonna say entertaining to watch, but I'm gonna put that loosely and put that in quotations. And that's only I'm biased because we ran fight nights. Because sometimes the meta fights would be very boring. But I feel like in Armored Core, even though Armored Core isn't as balanced, Armored Core 6 in particular, I feel like those fights, even though the game's not balanced, are a lot more entertaining to watch. And I feel the same way about fighting games. I'm okay with games not being unbalanced if they're fun to watch and it doesn't look like it's a cheap play style.
I agree.
But you can go on.
No, you hit the nail on the head. Daemon X Machina is very it almost looks like jousting.
Yes.
But this was it was the same issue that Armored Core 4 answered, where it's like y'all are kind of doing that jousting play style where you hit each other and then you're very far away because of how just how things work in that game. And then, whoever hits the person the hardest when y'all meet up again, they win. But it's not as dynamic as like an Armored Core 6. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as dynamic as Armor Core 6 PvP.
Yeah, I agree. I think Armor Core 6 actually, I still like play ranked and I still hang out in the communities and PvP and stuff. And I personally think the PvP is actually like pretty well balanced. There are some dominant stuff. There's like Zimmerman's, there's Etsugen to some degree, LRB. There are a few things that are clearly a cut above the average weapon, but I don't think any of them are so overwhelming as like they can't be defeated. Like I think you can beat Zims, you can beat Etsugen, Fasan, whatever's the hot ticket item of the day. Whereas in Daemon Machina, and also sorry to follow up on that, in AC6 you can have different styles. You can be like a rushdown melee player. You can be like a kite that runs and kites with rifles, or you can be Lamb where you just hover at the very top of the ceiling and just rain missiles down. There's a bunch of different playstyles you can do. Daemon X Machina, when you're doing optimal PvP, there's kind of just one playstyle, and that is fast bullet weapons like snipers or comparable lasers like Ugly Envy or Stargazer, and just really good balanced armor.
Yeah, and that is kind of why.
By the way, real quick,
Go ahead.
I pray they make melee viable because I was a melee player, and
I think all three of us are melee players. Were you more melee than Disorder? I feel like you were.
I kind of transitioned over to a hybrid style
you caved.
just because melee got a little redundant for me. It's always fun. It's super fun, but after like hundreds and hundreds of hours, I was like, I need to do something a little more versatile.
Yeah,
but
that's
I do
fair.
hope they do that.
Yeah.
I need melee to be more interesting.
I agree.
And actually, like you said, viable. I just want melee to be viable. It don't got to be the craziest shit. But
No, I would always say like there's like, I think I would put you on the list too. But I was like, there's 5 good melee players, and then people would think melee was like broken in DXM. Like when we used to run tournaments and stuff, people were like the melee's player is broken. I'm like, guys, it's not broken. I said the 5 people who are good at it are just really good at it.
yeah,
I said
it wasn't like I was. I felt like I was struggling to be that good, and that's not how it should feel.
Yeah, I always like, like even if I'm winning, I promise you, if I had guns, this match would have been over.
Yes,
That's how I usually felt most of the time. Like I'm doing this because it's fun and it's exciting for me, and putting that pressure on myself makes the game just more engaging. But in terms of like balance, no, melee was not very great unless you were using Fangs. But that's a different story.
The best weapon, no matter melee or not, the best weapon in the game by far. I think also some of the frustrations around melee were because of online, like latency.
Yes.
Somebody swing the sword and they hit the air 20 meters from you, and you lose half your life, and you're like, what the?
That's true too. That's true too.
Then I think hopefully that would be a really nice big step up. I think the online is actually outrageously impressive in DXM1. Like the what they were able to achieve in the online like netcode essentially is actually really impressive for a 3D game that moves that fast. It's good, but
On the Switch,
it's still not perfect.
and I promise y'all, I say this all the time, it would have been a lot better if y'all niggas wasn't playing in hardheld mode or handheld mode. Online. Nah, there's people playing handheld mode in tournaments. I'm like, guys, like hardwire your Switch. I promise you, it's gonna be a lot better, dude.
Yeah.
Even if you're not hardwired, just play dock it. I promise you, it's gonna be a lot better. I promise you.
I'm a dock only kind of guy as well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm a loser. I mean, mostly play dock, but especially for DXM.
Wait, you're saying in general you're dock on?
Me?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, DXM is the only Switch game that I've ever really played. I have a Switch, but I don't really play too much on it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Disorder is a PC guy now. He plays Samurai Showdown, and do you still rock with Street Fighter 6?
Not as much these days. I still think the game is really cool, but I kind of have fallen off of it. I've actually just lately, in the last couple weeks, I've been really getting the itch. So I'm thinking one of these weekends I'm gonna try to hop on and like get my bearings back. But nah, not as much these days. I just Samurai Showdown's the most fun, so I kind of gravitate towards that. To me.
They just dropped the Lena trailer, I think.
Oh really?
Yeah, they dropped it today, I think.
Wait, when? Today?
Yeah, like an hour, like 2 hours ago.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
I saw her. I meant to say something. I totally forgot about it till just now.
Hold on.
It looked
I
pretty
didn't know
sick.
that.
And she looked good. She looked good. I mean, she's always been a cool character, but she looks good.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a KOF player. Disorder.
Oh nice. SNK.
Yeah. Are you getting Fatal Fury?
I might. I'm a lot of the a lot of the Samurai Showdown community. They are like SNK diehards, kind of, and I'm sort of like a tourist. Like I'm more of I'm more familiar and more well versed in like the Capcom style. But for lately, I mean not lately, the last 5 or 6 years, I've been really getting into Samurai Showdown.
You said you're
And
from
this new one's
California,
interesting.
right?
Yeah, current.
Okay, dude, I'm gonna let you know now. Well, you probably already know this, but if you're in America and you play an SNK game at all, you're not a tourist. Like, by American standards, playing an SNK game at all is enough to be considered an SNK fan because they're not popping in America.
Bro, just grab it when they add Ken or Chun-Li. You gonna be alright, bro.
Yeah.
You gonna be alright.
But I hear what you're saying though.
I do want to give it a try. I mean, the original Garo is like so highly respected and regarded. It's considered SNK's third strike, basically. So it's like it's got quite a pedigree, and the new game looks cool. It looks actually graphically, it actually looks a lot like Sam Show. So I want to give it a try. I didn't want to necessarily try that during the demo because I just prefer to wait for the full finished release. But
That's fair.
All the Sam Show players are picking it up, so I might just join the herd, check it out that way. Be kind of fun.
Hell yeah.
Let me know what you think of a Disorder. I'd like to hear your opinion on fighting games because you guys are both pretty similar in that way. I feel like you guys have these games you guys lock in on and just play the heck out of. I don't know if it's because of how I grew up with games or what, but I play everything and I play everything with everyone. So it's hard for me to just to stick to one thing a lot of the times. But when I do, I lock in. But it's hard for me to find that one game. Like DXM, DXM, Armored Core, definitely those kind of games for me. But I've kind of hung up my fake fighting game fan jersey. I feel like I thought I was gonna lock in on Street Fighter 6 and I barely played it, and I did enjoy it, but after that I was like, you know what? I'm a fake fighting game fan.
It's all good.
Smash Bros was the only one for me, I guess, but I'm a fake fighting game fan.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you, I'm more of a. Oh wait, go on.
No, go ahead. No, but this is chill, yo. I like the chill. This is exciting to me.
Yeah.
I like hearing y'all thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, I was gonna say for me, I think I used to be somebody who played a lot of different things at the same time, but I think as I got older, I kind of as I started to understand my taste a bit more, I'm kind of like, okay, I can lock in on this game for a while because this is what I'm in the mood for, or I don't have time to be switching between this game that I kind of sort of like and this game that I really, really like. I'd rather just spend all my time on the game. You know what I mean? I feel like before, when I would be switching between games, it would be kind of like, I obviously have a favorite child. But I'm trying to give this other child some attention too. That I kind of, that this other child's okay, but it's a child. And I'm like, I just focus on the favorite child. So that's kind of what I do now. It's like I lean thing that I love a lot because that's really what I do deep down inside.
Word.
Yeah,
All right.
Well, time management as you get to adulthood. You know, when you're a kid, you gotta fill the time, and not only that, but even it was like pre-internet days. You know, it was the early internet days. So you were sitting there in your room playing whatever Nintendo 64 cartridge you could get your hands on. If it was Wayne Gretzky hockey, you know, whatever it was, that you were gonna play.
That's true.
Nowadays, you don't have that time. Now it's the opposite. Instead of trying to fill the time, you have like precious little gaps. So you kind of want to make the absolute most of it.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that for sure. All right, back on DXM. I want to ask you about this, and I don't think it'll be as like I don't think people are gonna trip about it as much as I think they are. But what if they added a hard lock to DXM2? You think would y'all prefer that? Like, how do y'all feel about that?
Huh?
Because there was a big controversial thing in Armored Core 6.
Yeah, true. And so, DXM1 does have aim assist as one of the processors. True. And just a side note, it does seem like the actual processor piece, that part, is no longer a part of DXM2. It seems like the processor has been eliminated. But aim assist was like robot. It was too good. It was way, way, way too good. It's not like Armored Core 6 Hardlock. The reticle follows, but you still have to be vigilant in your aiming your shots and take your shots at the right time, so you're going to hit them at the appropriate angle. You have to manage your recoil so the shots are going to be accurate. But in DXM1, aim assist is just pure robot aimbot. Like, you have absolutely unfailing perfect aim, and everything just hits. It's a little too much. So I think if an AC6 style hardlock where it's just the targeting reticle that keeps your camera moving, that's a little more reasonable. But DXM1 aim assist, I personally would prefer it didn't come back.
You think if they brought hardlock on, it's gonna be that strong?
I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it'll be a little more the Armored Core way, where it's good. And I think Armored Core, it is controversial, but it's pretty well balanced. And I think if you're playing on controller, you kind of, not that you have no choice, but you kind of have no choice, because like it's so difficult to fight against a mouse and keyboard player who has absolute free camera movement with the, you know, you can move your mouse a millimeter and you're looking in a different direction. You're like, 180 degrees. Whereas a controller, even when you're at the absolute maximum sensitivity, there's still a limitation to your turn speed.
Yeah.
I'm a gyro player. I'm a gyro player. I can't relate.
You're a true warrior.
Did gyro work on Armored Core?
No. Well, yeah, it did if you're on PC.
Oh, that's fire.
No, gyro was on Daemon.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, that's right. Kids who you love playing on gyro.
Most players did. Most players did use gyros.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on Switch. I think most players use the gyros. Which that was another. I mean, it's a dope thing for sure, but it was another problem it's one thing that I always said, like, tracking was too easy in DXM on a high level. That was one thing that all players did, I think, equally well. I think that was because of gyro controls as well, because it was easy to follow people. So, and then because of the meta helmets you had, where your whole screen's the reticle, it was just too easy to track, and that's why shift management was so important. So
yeah, and it made it so some heads were just unfortunately completely worthless because the lockbox is attached to whichever head you're using. So if you have a head you really liked statistically, but the lockbox is just this tiny little square in the middle of the screen,
it wasn't worth it.
You're probably never ever going to use it. It's just not good enough.
Yeah, unless you use aim assist.
Unless you use aim assist.
But yeah, that's I forgot you were. I mean, I'm controller warrior, so I'm always anti. Even though I feel like I would be able to do gyro, I played Conduit. You'd think I'd be able to do gyro, no problem, but I'm fucking anti.
Some of the very high level players played gyro. I remember you can tell because if you're spectating a match, at the end and it's like down and it pauses for a second on the arsenal, you can tell if a player is using gyro because the camera will be like twitchy.
Yeah.
You'll see the camera kind of like fluffing around, and so a lot of top top players did use it.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely one of the things that, like, I think the Switch was the perfect console to drop DXM1. And I don't think people, like, give it enough credit to, like, how much DXM dropping on the Switch not only did for the game itself, but for the community. I do kind of have concerns with, like, this game being multiplat now, that we're not going to get that Switch community, especially that the Switch 2 is only going to be 3 months in at the time of DXM 2 dropping. Like, we're not going to have that strong Switch community at launch, especially if the game's not crossplay. So,
that's something you brought up during our last discussion. I think that's a really good point, and I think also that is sort of, I would say, within the DXM community there was a slight split, and it wasn't a players weren't at odds with each other, but there was very clearly defined the people who were for PvP and the players who were there for hanging out and like co-op. And that's awesome. That's so cool. Like, they want to, hey, let's go fight Zeracor. Just like it's a Saturday afternoon, I'm looking for something to do. Let's all get together and fight Zeracor, which is so cool. But I think the Switch community is way more geared towards that sort of thing, towards like online co-op and towards like collaborative missions and things like that. Whereas the PC and console community would probably be much more inclined towards PvP from the get-go.
Yeah, the biggest thing I always notice between the two communities, and I think some of it has to do with PC having access to, I think that's part of it. It's a small part of it, but it is part of it. But having access to all the in-game stuff as soon as they started the game, because they have access to exploration mode where you can get all the best gear immediately, versus Switch. Switch players were definitely more creative. They had way more creative builds, usually, way more different play styles, whereas the PC players kind of, not all of them, but most of them kind of just had all the in-game stuff, and they all kind of played the same. And they were in and out. Like, they came in, played, got into PvP, and it bounced. And the Switch community kind of, like, they stayed with it for a long time. Our biggest tournaments were always Switch tournaments. While the games were kind of active at the same time. Towards the end, I think it ended up being PC. But originally, the Switch tournaments were bigger.
While we're on that topic, because we kind of shifted gears from like the gyro controls topic, what do y'all think about the mouse controls on Switch with Daemon X Machina and how that's gonna go?
I think that's gonna sick, and I think people gonna love it. Like, I think it's gonna. I'll always say, like, the more ways to play, the better. Like, I don't think that's something that should be slept on, and like, even if you don't care about it, like, it's very important for gaming. That's funny because you just dropped the video and stuff like that. But yeah, like, I totally agree with that video. Like, more ways to play, the better. And like, one of the jokes I say, like, on Twitter a lot was like, people complaining about playing crossplay like in Marvel Rivals against PC players. Wait till y'all get a Black Panther on gyro controls. That's just gonna be a problem. That shit gonna be a problem. When these Splatoon players start playing Marvel Rivals, it's gonna be a different game.
Yeah.
But
I'm full agreement. I don't know much about the mouse thing. That it looks kind of cool, but coming at from like fighting games, like, you can play on, players play on all sorts of things. There's pad, there's hitbox, the leaderless controller, there's joysticks, and I agree. Like, whatever is the most comfortable for you, whatever makes the game feel the best for you, like, do that. And it's gonna be different for everybody. So the more options to make people feel more comfortable, the happier I am about it.
Yeah.
What about you? Like, what do you think is gonna, like, add to the scene? Like, what do you think? Is it gonna be, is Splatoon 4 about to be crazy because people gonna have the mouse controls now? Is mouse controls better than gyro?
Yes. Yeah.
You think so? Okay. I only wanted to ask that.
In terms of, well, it depends on the game. But like Splatoon, for example, I'd say gyro would be better because the game was made with gyro in mind, so it has like the reset button to reset your camera. A lot of games don't have that aspect of that instant camera reset thing. So in those instances, mouse might be better, or pointer controls like on the Wii might be better. You know, it just depends on it depends on the game, really. But I'm more curious, especially with this being a mech game, the double mouse controls and maybe like the potential there. Not just with Daemon X Machina, but with other games in general in terms of I don't know if y'all played Virtual On, but just recreating that twin stick feel. But for modern day, you know, like imagine controlling two guns with like two mouse. You know, or two mice plural. But yeah, just the possibilities there in terms of making you feel like you're controlling a mech is just like interesting to me. That's why I asked. I don't know if they're gonna do that. I don't know if they're gonna lean into that, as you know, Daemon X Machina already has kind of a standard in terms of how it controls or how they want you to do things. But they could still do some experiments there. In terms
I wouldn't be surprised if they,
Yeah.
knowing that the Switch 2 is coming out and knowing that they are, even though it's not exclusive, they still are a Switch, you know, legacy game, one might argue. So I think it seems to me like they're very likely to add some sort of functionality that relates to the dual mouses.
Yeah.
Like kind of up their alley.
Yeah, it would be super fire. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that.
Okay. Well, I don't really have too much. Are you guys gonna grind the PvP leaderboards if they have them?
When's Daemon X Machina 2 coming? In a few months?
September, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I believe it's the 5th.
All of these things, I say this with every game, it just depends on what's going on. I know I'm going to play Daemon X Machina, but I'm not sure what my relationship grind-wise is going to be and all that kind of stuff. I can't predict that because something might be going on in my life at that time. I can't. Like, I think Daemon X Machina 1 came out in 2019, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to be real with you. I was self-employed when Daemon X Machina 1 came out.
So you had the time.
Yes, I had time to climb the rank. I think I got to 25 at one point in States. Very briefly. And I was pretty proud of that. But quickly after, I kind of dropped off. Once other things started going on in my life and stuff.
I remember, I don't think I ever told you this, but I was kind of racing you, and I think I was like always like, I think I was like always like right behind you, and and then I think we kind of fell off at the same time because they started hacking it up, I think, or something. Somebody was cheating.
Oh yeah, that really murdered, unfortunately, the PC scene. Even later on, PC ranked Q just became desolate because there were people on there with, you know, infinite health and all sorts of bullshit.
It was pretty bad. I forgot about that.
Very lame. I don't see the point of cheating.
Okay.
At least make it a little fun if you're gonna cheat. Like, unlimited health is whack. Do something cool, like I don't know, have 4 swords or something. Like, do I don't know, like do something cool.
Yeah, they got some PC6 cheaters that are like combining legs into like a single part. Like that's
dope. Like, why just cheat? Unlimited health, unlimited ammo. That's boring.
Yeah. I can understand, like you said, I can understand it if you're doing something cool, like floating in the air or something.
Yeah. If dude one shot me as like in his outer or something, like that would have been cool. Like, I wouldn't be mad at that. That's just funny. But
people who just cheat for numbers, just like, I just want to see my number.
Yeah, you're a loser.
Are you even playing the game?
Yeah, you're a loser.
Like, you won? I don't know. How do you feel like you've accomplished anything at the end of that?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird, but yeah.
Well, actually, that's another thing too about DXM1, and it's sort of related, but the ranking system. It was very clearly just kind of slapped together at the end
Yeah.
to get PvP out the door, and it was so punishing. It's so punishing. Like if you're, let's say you work your butt off and you finally get up to like 100 million points, 100 million, and you fight somebody who's got 10 million. Well, if you win, you get like 100k or 200k. Or no, I'm sorry. If you win, you actually get 2.1 million. That is the amount you get for defeating someone who is that much lower than you in the point system. If they beat you, you lose 35 million, and they get 2 million. They don't even get all that 35 million.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like it just feels bad to the point where you didn't even want to join ranked because the risk is too high. And there is some of that in Armored Core 6 as well. If you're super high ranked in Armored Core 6 and you're winning all your matches, you're winning +0, +1, +0 points each time, and then you lose like 50 points, and
that's
you go
crazy.
From rank 9 to rank 69. You know, it's like it's brutal. It's very punishing. So I hope DXM2, if they do include PvP, then I hope they kind of make a more robust system for the ranked.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't ever care about leaderboards or things like that. Usually, like if my friends are on there, like sometimes I try to race them just to be fun or try, at least keep up. But the game just got to be fun for me. If the game's fun, I'll do it. If it's not fun, I won't do it. Like that's at the end of the day, that's all that matters to me. As long as PvP is fun, I'll do whatever. Like I never really cared about rank at all. All right, I really don't have too much more on DXM. I mean, unless you guys want to include something or talk about something that I might have forgot.
Nah, I'm good. We covered a lot. We covered more than I thought we would.
Yeah. We covered a lot of my questions without me asking, which I knew was gonna happen. So that's always dope. And again, I knew this was gonna be a cool conversation. We kicked it, and this is a fun time. I think we should do this again for sure.
Oh yeah, hopefully we'll get more footage. We can do some more speculating.
Yes. We definitely should wait till we get more footage, but I definitely want to do this again. Next time I might actually just stream it. I feel like now that I've done this, I'm like, this would have been the coolest stream, and if we could have got more of the community involved, I think it would have been dope. So next time I think I'm gonna stream this. But yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for joining. I don't know if you guys have anything to do. I'm chilling, but I appreciate it. This is where I'm gonna cut the video at least. But you guys be cool, man. And yeah, this was sick. Again, I hope we do this again real soon. We're approaching we're over an hour in, boys. So this was sick.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you guys so much too. Both of y'all, you guys have done a lot for me. I hope I return the favor. This sort of with you taking over fight nights, UGK with your support, and shoot, even just you guys both inspired me. So yeah, I definitely appreciate that. That's coming from the heart, and I do consider you guys a good friends of mine, and I hope that we continue to grow this relationship. And yeah, this was sick. I definitely
Thanks
appreciate
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you know, you're so willing to just do it. Like, hey, let's all play today, right now.
Yeah, that.
I need that because I don't do that. I love it when you do that because then I can be like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Let's play today, right now.
Yeah, that's again. I think I was blessed growing up, but I don't think I realized that until lately. Like a lot of the people around me was always like involved, like played video games. My dad played video games. My mom was a big Pac-Man fan. My sisters played video games. My friends played video games. My real life friends, their friends play video games. Their family play video games. I think I was really lucky. So like gaming is not only like just like a hobby, but it's a way for me to connect with people. So I enjoy gathering people and doing fight nights. Fight nights was always a fun time because we got a bunch of different people that we didn't have. The fight nights were always more fun than the tournaments because even though the tournaments pulled in more viewers, because the fight nights were just a bunch of people having fun, connecting over something we love. And tournaments are fun too, but they're a lot more stressful and a lot of organization, and people fall through it. It can be annoying. It's a lot of work, and I have to put a lot of time aside. But the fight nights are always dope, and then I try to do that with all video games, and that's what Dream City's about. Like just people coming together and playing video games, and you know, connecting and creating and whatever. So that's my dream, anyways. That's my gaming goal. That's my contribution to the gaming community, anyways, or what I try to do.
No, it's good stuff.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
For sure. But yeah, definitely, you guys are always free to hit me up for whatever you need, like gaming or not gaming. If I'm ever in the area, hit me up. If y'all are in Florida, hit me up. It's whatever. I know Disorder's going to Evo. I don't think I'm going to go, but one day I'm going to get you there.
We did. We met up, what was it, 2022? You happened to be in Vegas?
Yeah. I just happened to be in Vegas during the Evo. And I thought about going, but I was poor at the time, so I couldn't afford it. But
I totally get it.
but maybe next time. I thought about doing it this year, but when is it again?
August, sometime middle. I want to say like 17th, but I'm not 100% certain. But it's sometime in August. Sometime when it's 120 degrees.
That's one of the main reasons why I'm like, damn, I don't want to go, because Vegas is hot as fuck and that shit sucks.
Yeah, they do it in like the dog days of summer every time. So
it's gonna be stanking that hoe. But I'm definitely more interested because now it's like a whole event. They had Substantial at the last one, and I'm kind of a big fan of his.
Oh yeah, right. The music stuff. Yeah, it's way more of like a convention nowadays.
Yeah.
Tournaments there, but it's way more of like a convention and networking in a way, I would say, for like big, for like the companies and sponsors representing themselves at Evo. There's kind of like a lot of collaboration and people shaking hands and stuff. So it's a little different, but it's still pretty cool.
I might check it one of these days. One year, I'm gonna check it. Maybe act like I'm signing up for something and don't show up to my fight.
That's cool. That's fine. You wouldn't be alone in that.
Nah, I wouldn't do that. As a holster, that shit's annoying. But I definitely do want to check it. But yeah, man. Again, thanks guys. This is sick.
And GK, it's nice hanging out with you. Nice meeting you.
It's GK, bro.
Yeah, man. It was cool. This was a cool vibe, man. Like it's cool to interact with the internet friends, and they're actually not weird.
Yes.
Thank you. That's the biggest compliment I ever got.
This art is cool as fuck, bro. There's not many people I'm trying to meet, bro. I'm trying to be honest, like.
Yeah.
You was cool as fuck.
So yeah, this was great, man.
Thank you guys.
All right, I'm gonna go eat.